Hey guys, gals, gays, and days. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. You see, while I want to still pursue my music curation of the soundtrack of my life, I feel I wasn't quite hitting the right tone. So I stopped, did some more research, watched a few YouTubers out there that were doing some of the same kind of content along the lines of what I wanted to do. You know, channels like the Professor of Rock and Rick Beato, who strive not only to curate music and musician careers, but also to educate on the era of the artists that they are highlighting in any given episode. I wanted to fold that type of element into what I wanted to do, while not giving up on the personal stories I might have for any of the artists that I want to talk about. So I watched, I made some notes, I thought, and brainstormed, rethought what and how I was going to proceed. And this, hopefully, is the result. To start us off, I decided to dedicate my next 3 episodes to those unsung divas, you know, session singers who move from one gig to another gig, foregoing any possibility of becoming household names themselves, just to preserve the prospect of having continual work. The same could actually be said for all of the session musicians in the studio as well, who played on all of those records. So imagine this. The year is 1978. In the news, serial killers Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy were grabbing the headlines. The blizzards in the winter of 1978 took a huge toll on the Midwest and the Northeast. In San Francisco, during the Gay Rights March, the first pride flag was shown, designed by Gilbert Baker. Back in national news, President Carter had just signed into law making it legal to do home brewed beer. Pretty amazing. Early in the decade, along with the gay rights movement, women's liberation, and the continued civil rights issues were also in the news. Mary Tyler Moore and B. Arthur were emancipating women's issues on their respective comedy shows, The Mary Tyler Moore Show and Maude. Speaking of TV, the Blues Brothers made their first appearance on Saturday Night Live. The Carol Burnett Show ended its 11-year run that year, and a brilliant comedian with a lightning-fast mind and tongue debuted on the sci-fi comedy Mork and Mindy. The 70s were tough financially, though. The gap between those that have and the have-nots was widening and becoming really, really apparent to everyone. Gas shortages were still fresh in everyone's minds. I remember that during this period and these shortages, you couldn't just drive up and buy some gas. You could buy gas if your license plate on your car ended on an even or an odd number, and then it would decide what day you could buy gas on and where you lived and what day of the week it was. You really had to plan to get your gas in the car, including making sure you had cash in hand. There were no ATMs yet. Oppression seemed to affect everyone in one way or another. We all needed a break. Disco crept into the mainstream radio, starting with Gloria Gaynor's Never Can Say Goodbye and Donna Summer's rather risque Love to Love You Baby. Originally evolving from the gay and Black dance clubs, the world seemed to want something joyous that just allowed people to forget the drudgery of life for a few hours a week and dance their troubles away until the light of day. In 1978, legendary New York nightclub Studio 54 was at the height of its fame. It was the place to be seen if you were anyone. As a society, there was a building backlash against disco under the catchphrase, "Disco sucks," by predominantly white, cisgendered, straight American males who felt threatened and whose fragile masculinity was deeply challenged by the all-gay and all-Black culture flooding into the airwaves and on TV. But we're a bit way off from that epic showdown. For now, let's just put a pin in that, and I'll be sure to come back to it later in a future episode. While the aforementioned Miss Summer and Miss Gaynor had prolific solo careers born out of disco, most of the major songs spun by the DJs of the area were by disco project works, where producers dreamt up a concept and hired session musicians and singers to make it all come to life. This was the era where music producers started to really make a name for themselves. Sure, you could point to producers like Phil Spector and Quincy Jones and Berry Gordy, but in the dance and pop vein, not many were true household names. This was also the era of the concept album, where storytelling on a theme of music, literature, or social issues became the focus of the entire album. So imagine a young gay boy like me cruising along in Tower Records. And this is the important part of this story. You kids out there don't really know how epic Tower Records was. While it was eventually a global phenomenon, it is predominantly a California story of how all record shops were measured. Virgin Records, they were a Johnny come lately in my book. More flash than actual panache or real style. Same can be said for the others, Sam Goody, Musicland, and the like. All were measured by what Tower Records did. There really wasn't anything like it. It was a playland for any audiophile out there. Part of the joy was the discovery of new things. There were no algorithms to present stuff to you that it thought you wanted to see. No, 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 no. That was solely up to you. And that often had many conversations springing up between complete strangers who would find themselves in rather lively debates over this band or artist or genre. It was a place where passion was born and thrived. iTunes, Google Play are all nothing but vapid, robotic, algorithmic businesses oriented operations. Tower, while a business, was all about passion. This was evident from the large foam core artist renderings of album covers that were airbrushed and adorned all the walls of the place. You felt alive in those stores, and hours could go by. Hell, even a day could go by, and you would leave with your newfound purchases knowing you had had a great day. No one that I could ever recall left Tower Records feeling worse than when they went in. It was magic personified. Move over, Disney. Tower had it all. So there I was moving along the bins, going from plastic dividers, separating each artist or band from the next, jumping from one genre to another genre, all while listening to some truly incredible music spinning in the building. No Shazam was wanted or needed. That was part of the fun. Then I came upon an album I'd been searching for since I heard their first song hit the radio. It featured a rather risque, by those day standards, and provocative cover, very sensual and extremely Parisian. I was completely intrigued. There on the cover was a trio of women performers in a nightclub of some sort, tucked, no doubt, into the bowels of Paris. One of those smoky joints, where good music and great company collide into something truly magical. There was a man on the cover at the piano, but despite my being a gay boy, and a hormonally charged one at that, I had no interest in him. The reason? Because these ladies blasted queer as fuck to me. I was riveted by the cover alone. Whoever came up with this concept knew exactly what they were doing. The group I'm talking about this time is Saint Tropez. This from the website discogs.com, which states, like many disco groups of the 70s, Saint Tropez was a producer's brainchild. In this case, of American producers Laurin Rinder and W. Michael Lewis, who had already been successful with disco groups Coco and Le Pamplemousse. I hope I didn't screw that up. Saint Tropez was a female group made up of 3 session singers. The first 2 albums, Je t'aime in 1977 and Belle de Jour in 1978, both hugely successful disco albums with big symphonic style orchestrations and tight disco backing. all the instruments played solely by the producers themselves. Je t'aime offered Serge Gainsbourg's well-known classic, an equally sensual and disco symphony. Belle de Jour, the album that I'm going to sample, followed the same formula, yielding two successful 12-inch singles, One More Minute and Fill My Life with Love. Typical for this kind of studio project. Lots of different singers were involved in the earlier 77 and 78 projects. After a 4-year hiatus, Rinder and Lewis revived Saint-Tropez one more time with Mona Lisa Young, Phyllis Rhodes, Lindy White, forming the new trio. In 1982, for a third album, Hot and Nasty, which leaned more into the R&B and dance, but still kept the lush orchestration of the first two albums, it yielded the single The Love Stealers, a cover of a Peaches and Herb hit. A curiosity for all the Saint-Tropez albums was a continued story, an audio film noir in French, telling the story of Nicole, who's fallen in love with a female assailant, whom the Paris police, as well as Interpol, are now looking for. It starts with Violation on the Je t'aime album. On Belle de Jour, it was the title track, and When You Are Gone. While on Hot and Nasty, it was Femme Fatales. The third LP cover contained an editor's note, which read, with respect to Femme Fatales, the fundamental question before us is what will happen to Nicole's lover. Perhaps in Saint-Tropez 4, we will have the answer to that question. But there never was a fourth Saint-Tropez album. Only a final 12-inch single, Morning Music, saw the story continue on the B-side called The Chase, which closed the book on the Saint-Tropez film noir kind of story. The complete vocalist lineup for the 77 Je t'aime album comprised of Ida Boros, Monique D'Orso, and Suzanne Mirel. The lineup for the album will be sampling Belle de Jour were Pam Keener, Vanetta Cloud, Marilyn Jackson, Myrna Matthews, Lisa Roberts, and Carmen Twilley, and with Jean-Paul J.P. Vignon at the piano. First up, we'll be listening to a small segment of that lesbian film noir story, just to give you a taste of just how odd these tracks were. I remember as a tween gay boy, when I discovered Saint-Tropez via our local disco FM radio station, K105, I was immediately intrigued by the sound of the track, even though I didn't really know how to speak French and I didn't know what was going on. Kind of cool to know now that I have all three albums, I can finally get the full lesbian noir tale. So here we're going with Belle de Jour.
Quand j'étais jeune et amoureux, je me faisais des idées sur l'amour. Des idées qui paraissent bien pâles aujourd'hui, comparées à la passion que j'ai connue depuis que je suis un homme. Avec la fille que j'aimais, la fille que je chérissais, nous parlions de notre futur ensemble, de la famille que nous allions bâtir, de la maison où nous allions vivre. J'essayais d'écouter le murmure des amoureux dans les ombres lointaines. Je pensais à Catherine que j'avais rencontrée récemment. Je venais de quitter son lit chaud et je me rappelais ce qu'elle m'avait dit.
Jean, je suis folle de toi. Je suis folle de ton corps qui frémit sous mes doigts. J'aime te caresser, te tenir dans mes bras. Viens contre moi. Oh. Embrasse-moi. Parle-moi de tes désirs les plus passionnés, de tes rêves les plus pervers. Prends-moi. Oh.
passé et que nous nous parlions tendrement. Elle me faisait réaliser pour la première fois que j'étais devenu un homme. Elle m'apprenait le véritable amour. Elle m'apprenait la vie elle-même.
Je veux sentir ta force avec tout ton pouvoir. Je veux te sentir au fond de moi.
So you can see how odd it is to have that kind of song on a disco album. Very provocative and very intriguing to a queer boy like me. So let's start diving into Tropez with a light-hearted, upbeat ballad song titled Think I'm Gonna Fall in Love Again. Love the string arrangement here. For me, strings are everything, and that's one of the reasons why I love disco music so much.
Give me time to get back on my feet and head just one step behind this old heartbeat. Maybe then I will find a reason or run. My heart's love weary, but if I'm sleeping, what's the cause of the fountain and leaping? It's a love thief to steal my poor heart away. Ooh, that night, such a night. Hold on to love and the whole world's alive. Ooh, that night, thought I might. Hold on to love, maybe. Hold on to love, maybe. Hold on to love, maybe.
Pretty nice number, right? I can see me listening and singing along while on a long California coast drive up the Highway 101. In fact, I know I did. Next, let's go with Fill My Life with Love, which was one of the two 12-inch club hits on the dance charts from Belle de Jour album. And I always saw this kind of as a staged kind of thing, and I guess it was influenced by the cover of the album. So you kind of got that going there. Kind of hear the orchestration going there. I love the strings here.
You don't know the times I played the role and filled my life with love.
And it's interesting because even though you have the acoustic instruments playing here, there's also an underlying the inflection of a Moog, and the synthesizers are starting to make their presence known in disco music.
You don't know the loss of time or song killed my life with love. You should know your mind the way I do. And you don't know how I tried to make it. You can't say why I tried to break it. But it's been so long, and I may be wrong. If I leave you, baby, 'cause there ain't no way. Even though you baby, I don't wanna see you go. Give it up, baby. Don't come down anymore. Maybe I'm crazy, but tell me, try again.
And of course, you always had to have the obligatory sax solo. But I like the way this is arranged, and we go right back into a percussion area that kind of puts you back in the beginning of the song again. And it used to always frustrate me on K105 because sometimes they would use this break to mix into another song, so I'd never get the end of the song. So that's why I had to go out and buy the album so I could listen to the whole thing. That was the downside of disco stations, especially when you tried to record them on your cassette tape player so you can make a mixtape. Yeah. I mean, even this keyboard riffs that's going on here, you know, this is like some solid jazz kind of influence stuff. There's that synthesizer. Strings pick it up.
You don't know the times I played the road, fill my life with love. Million times the tears I've cried for you. And you don't know if I'm gonna make it. Can't say if I'm gonna take it. But it shows sometimes. Keep them in mind. If I leave you, baby, for a long, long time. If I leave you, baby, for a long, long time. Oh, you baby, I don't wanna see you go. Give it up, baby, don't come down anymore. Fill it up, fill my life with love. Fill it up, fill my life with love, life with love. Fill my life.
So, funny thing here, this next song I recently heard while shopping at a Safeway in the North Bay of San Francisco. Think about that. A band or disco project that is relatively an unknown by most people today had this song playing over the PA system at a Safeway. Who'd have thought? Seems like they made their way into American pop culture after all, at least in some small way. So here's the final track we'll be sampling. One More Minute. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever heard this play while you've been shopping in your local grocery store. This is kind of an anthem kind of sort of song in that the all the vocalists sing for the most part, and then there's like a minor kind of lead vocal. Um, it's not really the focus of the song. It's more the chorus that is really what sticks in your head. So again, the orchestration. Love the arrangement here. You've got that 70s guitar waka 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 going on. Love the strings right there. So that's it for our dive into the musical project band Saint Tropez. Coming up in future episodes, I'll have groups like the Ritchie Family, High Energy, The Emotions, Liquid Gold, the Duncan Sisters, just to name a few, as well as lesser known but no less talented or warranted solo singers like Susie Lane, Madeline Kane, Rosalind Woods, Ruth Silky Waters, and Linda Clifford, along with the majors of Donna Summer, Barbara Streisand, Diana Ross, and France Jolie. In each ep, I'll give a bit about the artist's career in their given episode, as well as some deeper tracks that aren't the big hits found on radio stations of the time, but songs that I think are really worth listening to and deserve a bit of love and praise, and your worthy attention. So join me as I move through songs from the soundtrack of my life, songs that span from the earliest years of musical recordings all the way up into current times. I hope you'll join me for the ride. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like what I'm attempting to do here. I'm sure that the channel will evolve and expand into some other areas that I haven't really thought of at this time. So stay tuned. Until next time, keep listening to those songs that make up the soundtrack of your life. Keep making those memories with friends and family, and join me again for a trip into the language we all speak, no matter where we're from, the universal language of music.